Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and we are back with another video. Just before we start off, I just want to apologise about the World Cup Leeds not being out last night. Guess what? My car broke down outside of Manchester. So, unfortunately, I had poor old Gabe waiting, and we couldn't get the video out. It is Thanksgiving in America. I believe it's today, yeah. So happy Thanksgiving to all you Americans who are watching the channel. So unfortunately, we can't get a World Cup Leeds out today, but we are going to be looking to get a review of the America game, the England-America game, and just a general discussion about Leeds' first week in the World Cup, which I think has been remarkably successful when it comes to our boys. So today, anyway, a little bit of transfer news. Thank you so much for your views and your comments and your engagement on the last video. Outside the transfer window, for you guys to be engaged as much as you are, that's fantastic. As I say, at the minute, it's the videos are averaging 11,000 views, and you guys are just absolutely smashing it. So I really appreciate that. I think during this time period, if I'm being completely transparent with you, you always think maybe people will turn off, but it's great that you guys are still turned on with one lead. So it sounds kind of wrong, but you know what I mean. But yeah, before we start the video, make sure you liking and as I said, doing all that, subscribe and all that good stuff. We're about 20 subscribers away from 25,000, which would be great. A fantastic milestone for me. When I started the channel, 25,000 was always in my head. I don't know why, and to do that in less than 2 years would be unbelievable. So thank you so much for that. And with the amount of videos I've done as well, it shouldn't correlate to 25,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. Anyway, let's get on to the main stuff, the main topics which you guys are here for. So a little bit of transfer news and just one topic that I wanted to primarily talk about today. I'm not going to start talking about, transfers here, there and everywhere. It's just the one. And it is Charles de Ketelaere. And the reason I wanted to speak about Charles de Ketelaere is apparently there is an option that Leeds United might go in for Charles de Ketelaere, according to several reports in January. Now, de Ketelaere hasn't had the best start at AC Milan. But I think what's vexing me a little bit about this whole thing is when Leeds were in for him, all of our fans, were very, very hyped up on Charles de Ketelaere, and you're talking about him being one of the best young prodigies in the world. But suddenly, because he's not had a great start at AC Milan, he's a flop. He's useless. And this isn't just Leeds fans saying this, by the way, but I just find it incredible how football fans write off a talent after bigging them up so much. It's staggering to me. But listen, Charles de Ketelaere's not had the best start at AC Milan, obviously moving from Club Bruges. Leeds United were in a huge transfer battle with AC Milan, which we were obviously going to lose. The Italian champions managed to secure his signature, and he's not had the best start in Milan. However, what I'd like to say with regard to this is there's several points. Now, Charles de Ketelaere is 21 years old. His potential is through the roof. He is a superb player. Just because it's not started well for him at AC Milan doesn't mean he's a bad player. Okay, it could be coaching, it could be positional, it could be many things, many off the field factors that can contribute to a player's down-turning form. And I think just with the level of potential he has, if this was ever an option for Leeds United, I would be more than willing to go in for Charles de Ketelaere. We all know his calibre, we all know how good he is. We all know that, he just needs to fit in the right environment to be able to thrive. Would that be in Jesse Marsch's Leeds? I don't know. Maybe obviously if he was to play as a centre forward in a front two or a front one, that'd be interesting. I know a lot of the rhetoric during the summer was for Charles to play alongside Patrick Bamford, but Patrick Bamford is never ever going to be fit again for Leeds. So I think why this is interesting is because, listen, I know loads of you guys are going to come back and say there's absolutely no chance this happens, but we've seen stranger things happen. There's been a lot of talk about a loan move for de Ketelaere to Leeds to regain some form. But for me, I think that ship has sailed. It really has. And, there's a lot to consider here. Charles didn't want to come to Leeds, and that was pretty evident. He didn't want to come to Leeds, wanted to go to AC Milan. So he'll want that to work. Of course he will want that to work. I can't see how that is an option that he would want to entertain coming to Leeds. I understand there's the Premier League there. I understand there's this, that and the other. It might not have worked out for him in terms of the environment in Milan, which could be a beneficiary to Leeds United if we were to move in for him. But I don't know. I just think that the position that Leeds are in, again, as De Ketelaere and his agent and everyone probably predicted towards the back end of last season when he maybe saw Leeds' recruitment, etc., etc. This is something that I can't imagine he's going to be enticed with, because Leeds are going to be in a relegation battle for the rest of the season. Now, is Charles De Ketelaere a player that Leeds would want right now? That's an interesting question, because he's clearly a luxury player. He's clearly an excellent player. We all know that. But is that more of a summer transfer move? I think it is. And the reason behind that is because I think Leeds need a player who really is in form right now. We need players, plural, who are in form right now. And I'm not saying Charles De Ketelaere wouldn't come in and be fantastic for Leeds United. There is a high ceiling for this boy. But maybe if he was to ever come to Leeds, there would need to be a bedding in period. I don't think bringing him in January would be beneficial for him. I don't think it'd be beneficial for Leeds, because right now we need strikers that are in form. We need a player that's going to be able to transition into the Premier League, maybe someone who's already played in the Premier League, someone who's currently playing in the Premier League. These are all factors that the board needs to take into consideration, and I'm not sure Charles De Ketelaere right now fits that mould. So from a long-term projection, would I like Charles De Ketelaere? Of course. But when I'm looking at short term, I don't think I would accept Charles De Ketelaere right now. And it's just fascinating how, because obviously that costs 43 million euros, I believe, for AC Milan. They are looking maybe to exercise options in the summer. Now, the reason a lot of these things come out is because of agents. It's because of agents. It could be Charles De Ketelaere's agent leaking it to the press. It could be Milan's representatives leaking stuff to the press. Trust me, guys, that does happen. Then the club come out and deny it and all this sort of stuff, but the fiasco starts. Clubs become interested. This is how it all begins. Of course, it can just be false rumour. Of course it can, but do not ever think that clubs don't leak information. Do not ever think that agents don't leak information, because all of these things, that's why you always get Fabrizio Romano getting the breaking news. It's because he's dead close with all the top clubs in world football. He's got contacts there, but also he's very, very tight with agents in world football. So yeah, a lot of things to consider there. But definitely long-term projection, Charles De Ketelaere would be an option for me. But what I also don't want to happen, and I've said this multiple times, is I want Leeds to have targets in place right now. That's what I want. I want my club to have 3 or 4 targets in place right now, so we can go out there in January and make the necessary additions to this Leeds United side. If we are going to be going down a Cody Gakpo lane, a Noah Lang lane, a Charles De Ketelaere lane, these lanes are going to be long lanes. They're not even going to be lanes. They're going to be roads. They're going to be motorways, highways. These are going to be long journeys for Leeds United. They're going to be 30-day journeys, as we all know, because it seems like when it comes to negotiations with top players, that it takes long periods of time, because they want agent fees, they want their fees, they want bonuses, they want this, that, and the other, and they want to also be picture perfect. They want to know that they're going to the right place for their family. They want to know that they're going to the right place for them and their career. So loads to consider here. Loads to consider when it comes to someone like Charles De Ketelaere. But for the January window, for me, Leeds need 2 attackers already lined up now. If we are to go in for Charles De Ketelaere, and it would cost a fee in January, and Leeds are being told it's going to cost them a fee, which wouldn't surprise me if he started poorly out there and they're not too hyped up on him. Leeds, for me, it's going to be difficult for them. But I'm not sure they can go down that road. But do they have any other options? Have they got options lined up for January? I would edge on the caution line for that one, because we know what Leeds are like. They'll get into it and start saying they don't want to block pathways. They'll get into it and start saying, well, it's a certain profile that fits Leeds United way, which is smoke screens. That we hear all the time. But I'm just hoping, I'm trying to be positive with it, and I'm hoping that the club have targets lined up right now. But I am just not sure Charles De Ketelaere fits on a form standpoint, and a coming in at this point in the season. And Leeds potentially, with the Charles De Ketelaere money, could attract 2 attackers, if that is going to cost a lot of money. If it's a loan, is Charles De Ketelaere, after rejecting Leeds initially, going to be that invested in a loan move to Leeds United? Now, guys, this isn't me saying that any of this is going to happen. Of course it's not. Now, I know there'll be loads of people in the comments saying this ain't going to happen, as if I'm breaking the rumour. I'm not breaking the rumour. I'm just saying that it's a talking point at the minute. It's a trending topical discussion with Leeds fans. And yeah, it's just interesting, isn't it, how this news sort of just comes out of the blue because it is a very unique piece of information. Normally, you move on to different footballers, especially when other footballers have moved to different clubs that you were interested in initially. And but please don't ever think to yourself, guys, that Charles de Ketelaere is a bad player. He is an excellent player, maybe the Milan environment isn't working for him, or maybe it's just going to take him a little bit of time. But for me, this one, it doesn't get done. It doesn't get done at all, and several factors for that, really. Who would you like in the January window? If you've got a left back, if you've got a striker option, who would you like? Would you take Charles de Ketelaere? Let me know in the comment section below, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. See you in a bit.